Marketing is all about sticking yourself into somebody's brain so that no other thoughts can get in here. Big shout out to Jane at Monk Office. I was talking with her this morning and she said, you know, a company that I talked to, they've just decided to advertise on Pornhub. Anybody heard of Pornhub?
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. That thought is with me for the rest of the day. Another big shout out to Mike Vardy, who I met this morning through a mutual friend of ours, David Knapp Fisher. Mike said, you know what's great about going on as the first keynote? If you go on as the last speaker of the day, then everybody's already said what you want to say. And you look like a big fat plagiarist. When you come on first, everybody goes, wow, he's so smart. And everybody else gets to compensate and not say what I just said. Finally, shout out to Sue Maitland, who was sitting beside me there. I sat down, I said, hey Sue, she goes, hello, how are you? I said, oh, Australia. She goes, no, not really. And I said, oh, now I'm going to ask a question. So, note to yourself, small office, home office, find a cool accent. People will remember you. It will stick your name in their head and all the others will fall out. Except for Danish. Don't have a Danish accent, because that's horrible. I saw some of you, Sue included, with pen and paper. Please put those down. The final slide today will be a landing page where you can go to download the manuscript. Everything that I'm about to say, except written in beautiful prose form that Shakespeare would be proud of. All right? So don't worry about that. Instead, Chris mentioned hashtag SOHO Vic. Start tweeting like bandits. Let everybody know who's got a small office around the world that this is where it's at. You guys are like the folks who bought Apple stock before it was cool. Right? Look around. You're all going to be oligarchs in a few years. All right? Let's get rolling. I want to start with my favorite bootstrap marketing story. Story comes to me by way of a friend of mine who, when I met him in the mid-90s, had just retired from a big ad agency. It was one of the more famous ad agencies in North America. He had worked on a number of multinational accounts, winning tons of prizes. Very famous dude. When I met him, he had just retired to focus on smaller projects like the one that I met him on, and to focus on helping his family in any way that he could. Now, one way that he helped his family was by helping his son-in-law launch a new business. The son-in-law's business was a pet treat business. It was called Scaredy Cats, because everybody who owns a dog knows that dogs love nothing more than a scaredy cat. Fantastic name, apparently a great formula for the treats too. Dogs did love them. But other than that, it was tough going. He used to mix the formulation at the family's dining room table. He would bake the treats inside the family stove, wrap them up himself, and drive them in his car to all the pet food stores around town. Does this sound familiar? Yeah? We've all been there. We're still there, aren't we? So he approached my friend, his father-in-law, and said, can you help me with some bootstrap marketing ideas? And by bootstrap marketing, what I mean is ideas that stick your name into other people's heads for virtually no money. Because he was an entrepreneur, he didn't have any money. His father-in-law said, sure, let me think about it a few days. Fast forward a few days, they're driving, and they see at the side of the road a big panel van. Everybody's seen them before. FedEx uses them, UPS uses them. They're those huge things. They're as big as a house. They're perfectly flat. They look like a bread box on wheels. This one had seen better days. It was all scratched up and dinged up. Looked like it'd been in a few fender benders. The windows had been knocked out. Turns out there wasn't even an engine in the engine compartment. The owner was selling it for scrap metal for a couple $100. Well, pretty quickly, the father-in-law took a look and said, let's buy it. The son-in-law was perplexed, to say the least. What the heck are we doing buying this? I don't need a van to drive my treats around, and this one doesn't even have an engine. What the? Ah! Father-in-law just nod and say, trust me, I have an idea. So they hitched up the van to their car, towed it home, parked it in the driveway, and the father-in-law pulled out 2 big buckets of paint, one black, one yellow. They both painted the van completely black, and then the father, who had been a designer before he became a creative director, in yellow, painted the silhouette of a whole bunch of yellow dogs jumping up from the back of the van, along the side, looked like they were jumping right over top of the driver's compartment. Underneath that, he lettered Scaredy Cat's dog treats and a phone number. Now that's important, because this was back in the mid-90s, before most of you were born. Back before there was a www to put at the bottom of your billboard. So, all covered in black and yellow paint, they took a look, and the son-in-law says, thank you very little. Now I have a big stinking billboard standing in our driveway, and because social media and camera phones had not been invented yet, the maximum number of people who are going to see it here is 4. You, me, and our wives. Father-in-law said, I'm not done yet. Next thing he did, he took a fishing pole. Of course, you saw this coming. He took a fishing pole and he stuck it on the front of the van, raking out at a 45-degree angle out in front of the driver. And from that fishing pole, on a piece of fishing line, he hung a stuffed kitty cat. Little black toy kitty cat like kids love. The end effect was pretty amusing. Because it was before cameras were invented, I also don't have a photo of it, unfortunately. But the end effect was these dogs jumping over the driver to go attack this little kitty cat hanging in space in front of a van. Quite an amusing visual that exactly 4 people would ever see. The son-in-law was no less ticked off, even though it was a fun idea. Father-in-law said, trust me, I'm not done yet. They hooked the van up and they drove it downtown. And they parked it in front of one of the town's radio stations. And they left. Well, not surprisingly, a couple days later, the phone rings. The son-in-law picks it up. It's a fellow from the radio station. He says, are you the guy that left this van with a cat hanging from it in our street right in front of our radio station? Because all everybody's talking about. We're wondering what the heck is going on. So the son-in-law told him about his bootstrap company and this bootstrap marketing idea of how cool scaredy cats were and what a great joke it was that dogs love nothing more than a scaredy cat. And they had a good laugh. And the guy at the radio station said, would you mind coming on by and talking to our DJs about that? Because that's a great story. Son-in-law said, sure, on one condition. That on the day I come in, everybody who owns a dog brings their dog. So they did. Son-in-law walked into the station with an armful of scaredy cats. The dogs went nuts. The DJs loved it. They talked on the air far longer than they'd originally intended. And the son-in-law, at the end of it all, walked out of the radio station with thousands of dollars of free media attention. Well, he went home to the father-in-law and told him this fantastic story. The father-in-law said, wait, we're not done yet. They picked up the van and towed it to the next radio station, where they got exactly the same response. And the next radio station, and the next. When they ran out of radio stations, they went to all the newspapers. They went to all the TV stations and all the magazines. Everywhere, they got the same response. When they finished that, they went to the next town, and the next, until they pretty much blanketed the state in sort of a glacier-paced social media campaign. Not surprisingly, sales of scaredy cats dog treats began to go up. In fact, they started to go up so much that before long, Scaredy Cats was outselling the national brand of dog treats, which had millions of dollars of paid media behind it. I love that story. I love that story for a bunch of reasons. One, I love stories. Everybody loves a story. Stories stick in your head much better than facts. Two, it's a shitty economic climate right now, and I think we could all use a fun story about success. But three, I'm telling you this story because it hits on the very thing that I want to talk about, is the beautiful idea. If you're going to do bootstrap marketing, you need a beautiful idea to start. In my experience, a beautiful idea is comprised of three things. First, the essence of the brand. Scaredy Cats, that billboard, had that in spades. I mean, Scaredy Cats, the very name means that we don't take ourselves too seriously, our company. The visual is fun. It's kind of quirky. Well, the campaign reflected that in spades. So it captured the essence of the company, that we're a fun bunch of people, we love dogs, and we know dogs too, because they like Scaredy Cats. The second thing your campaign has to have is insight. Has to understand what the consumer is thinking about, or what the consumer wants. How many dog owners here? All right. For all you non-dog owners, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. Are you ready? Dogs aren't the only ones that like Scaredy Cats. Dog owners love Scaredy Cats. It's not politically correct, it's not a nice thing to say, but when we see our dog chase a cat up a tree, we'll go, oh, that's terrible, but inside we're going, yes. Because let's admit it, dog owners, cats are stupid. So, by having a whole bunch of dogs leaping over a van to catch a helpless little cat, you tap into the motherlode of dog owner psychology. 3, execution. And this is where I love bootstrap marketing. Execution is 2 things. 1, it's how nice you make it look, and that is important. My friend did a nice job painting the van, but let's face it, it was no Picasso. He didn't spend $1 million, he spent 2 buckets of paint. He made it look decent, okay? You have to have a decent looking piece of communication. More important though, and what I love about bootstrap marketing, is that where you put your message is all important. Think about it. If you advertise online, even on Pornhub, Jane, was that my inside voice? If you advertise online, your ad is in a rectangle, the screen. You advertise on television, your ad's in a rectangle. Advertise on radio, it's just somebody listening. No voices, just voices, no bodies, no visuals. Advertise in the newspaper, rectangle. You advertise bootstrap though, and the world is your canvas. You can put your ad on a van. You can put your ad in a bunch of different places. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of them. I hope they inspire you. But execution is the 3rd part of the beautiful idea. Now, if you've dabbled in advertising for your business, I'm sure you think that a lot of what I've just said is fundamental and you're wondering where this is all going to go, because this is all ABC 101 kind of stuff. Well, here's the secret. It's not 101 stuff. A lot of people ignore this stuff when they bootstrap market. In fact, I would venture to say that a lot of people ignore those 3 fundamentals, essence, insight, execution, when they execute any kind of marketing messages. I was speaking to a friend of mine a little while back. His name is Jason. And Jason is a creative director at an LA ad agency. And if you didn't already know, let me let you in on another little secret. This is the international standard symbol for creative director. Cool haircut, leather jacket, film camera, and green screen behind you, perfect teeth. That, if you speak to that person, you know you're speaking to a creative director. Jason, like most of us who are or were creative directors, hires young people. That's the lifeblood of advertising. 20-year-olds, millennials, Gen Ys. I said, Jason, why is advertising crap? Well, it's always been crap, but I just thought I'd start a conversation. He said, Mark, you know the problem is with advertising nowadays is that the young people don't think they have to sweat the idea. They think they can jump straight to execution. And I said, why is that? He said, well, partly it has to do with their heroes, which kind of caught me off guard. I said, explain that to me, Jason. He said, well, they don't have the same heroes as we used to have. So, who are their heroes? He said, they all want to be Disney moguls. They all want to be Hannah Montana, which I find a horrifying thought, personally. They want to be Hannah Montana. I said, explain that, because I really don't know what you're talking about. Well, Hannah Montana, during the day, as Miley, she has a nice house, nice friends, goes to a nice school, has a kind, if somewhat quirky father. She's the nice girl next door. And then she puts on a wig and she becomes a megastar. She has her own perfume line. She's a rock star. She's a producer. She's a designer. She's anything she wants to be. She rides around in limos. She becomes Hannah Montana. Just like that. No work involved. Put on a wig. He said, now contrast that with the heroes that we used to have back in the dark ages. Guys like this. We looked up to bums. We looked up to bums like Rocky Balboa. Guys who were down and out. Listen if you hear yourself being described. Guys who were down and out, who had one shot at the title. And they believed. Not only did they believe, but they bled for their idea. And they gave, and they gave, and they ran up and down steps, and they punched meat. They did everything they could. And you know what, at the end of the day? They still had a 1% chance of success. They were lovable bums, and they were willing to struggle in pursuit of a great idea. Those were our heroes. Now, my friend said, young people, when you talk to them about idols like Rocky Balboa, they don't really buy into that. He called them yuckies. Yeah. Young urban creators. And he said, when you talk to them about struggling and sweating an idea and really getting it right, you know what they do? They do that. And I think I'm being unfair to young people. I think all of us are guilty as charged of glazing over when somebody talks to us about sweating the idea first. We want to jump straight to putting it out there. Why? Because all of us are enabled by technology more than ever before. I can record a song on my computer. It will probably be a crap song, but it will sound pro for $0. I can edit a movie and shoot a movie on my computer and on my phone, and you can go onto YouTube and see a lot of professionally produced films that are crap, but they look good for $0. I can create an entire ad campaign, whether that's online or on billboards or even a television commercial, for virtually $0. Unfortunately, the results are not so priceless because I jumped to execution before I thought of the idea. Now, if any of you have contemplated bootstrap marketing for your operation and you're starting to look at the internet for help, let me save you some work because I did it for you. There are hundreds of thousands of links to helpful bootstrap marketing advice on Google. This advice, in my humble opinion, is crap. Here's some of the fantastic advice that I want to share with you that I got on Google. Build your email list. That's kind of like saying, I want to buy your dog treats. Here's my card. No, thank you. I don't want your card. We'll connect via telepathy. That's what that is. Optimize your conversion. That's a 10-gallon hat of a phrase. That means if somebody wants to buy your dog treats, sell them to them. Sounds good though, doesn't it? It's like synergy. Get your SEO right. And if any of you are interested, Chris mentioned that I helped start this company called Determine. I can tell you about it later. SEO I found out all about. Search engine optimization means if somebody is looking for your dog treats, make sure you're on that Google page where they're actually looking. That's a bit like putting a sign out in front of your store if you're selling dog treats, and the sign says, lingerie. Well, duh. If you're going to sell dog treats, make sure the world knows you're selling dog treats. Write blogs. This one makes me angry. If any of you have read blogs, you will concur that 99% of blogs are crap. But somehow we have this misguided idea in our heads that it's not enough to run a business. We have to be a bunny ears thought leader. And so we feel obligated to write something, anything about our business and put it out there in the blogosphere, hurting a lot of consumers who are reading. Even worse, we hire blog writing services to do it for us. Organize a flash mob, one of my personal favorites, because all of you small office, home office entrepreneurs working 14 hours a day are thinking to yourselves, you know what I should do? I should organize 40 of my friends, rent out a church basement for a few weeks, coordinate them, sync them up, get them dancing to a routine, and then take them out to Mayfair Mall where I'll press play and they start dancing and everybody loves me. Thank you, Google, for that helpful bootstrapping advice. Send press releases. Thank you, Don Draper, and the 1950s. Does anybody here know anybody at the Times columnist? Yeah? Has anybody talked to a journal? Oh, there we go, the man in the back. Has anybody talked to any journalists about what they think of press releases? They wipe their bum with them. Thank you, Google, for helping us with that. Build a list of prospects, which takes us back to build an email list. And this is my favorite. Network. Instead of looking at Google, get out there and meet somebody. In my opinion, the advice that you get on Google is all gear and no idea. And worse than sucking your time away, time that you could be spending thinking of beautiful ideas, it works against you in other ways. It hurts people. Look at her. That's what you're doing. Consumers are confronted by a wall, a tsunami of noise. They can't find you out there because there's so many thought leaders putting out wisdom about oil changes. Apologies to any garage owners here. Now, I'm a big fan of failing fast and failing forward. I think it's a great phrase, but I believe it's become perverted. In my mind, developing an idea is all about failing fast. Try something out, fail, figure out why, tweak it, try it again, tweak it, try it again, tweak it, try it again until you come up with a winner. Unfortunately, I believe this phrase, in its sexy new form, has been perverted to mean try something, fail, whoops, let's try this, whoops, fail, whoops, try this. You see the squirrel coming up, whoops, 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 whoops. You're not moving forward, you're like ADDing it, man. You're just going around trying a whole bunch of stuff. No rhyme or reason, getting more confused and making more people cry. Now, I am being very general in saying that folks who are entrepreneurs are the only offenders, and the yuckies are the only offenders. I believe this is not true. Everybody is getting sucked into this all gear and no idea paradigm, including some of the biggies. To make you feel good, I brought a few along. Kenneth Cole, the master of screwing it up. Somebody a while ago thought it was a good idea to give Kenneth Cole a phone with Twitter. And after that, everything changed. Kenneth has, on multiple occasions, you can Google this if you want a good time, gone out and saw fit to tweet out amazingly stupid stuff. This is one, if you can't see it, he tweeted this out during the Arab uprising, Arab Spring, right? A very emotional, very tense moment, right? What he tweets out, millions are in uproar and hashtag piracy, you can find this. Rumor is they heard our new spring collection is now available online at Kenneth Cole. Oh, Ken. Remember we said that you can put out an idea for almost no money or no money? That idea costs $0 to put out, or did it? Because very famously, it cost millions of dollars to undo this damage. Lots of PR, lots of spin, lots of sorry, you misunderstood what he said. And then he did it again. He's done it multiple times. Go online, see it. He's incorrigible. Have a laugh on Friday night when you're feeling bad about your advertising. Go look at what Ken's doing. He's not the only one. American Apparel and The Gap, I didn't show The Gap on here, decided it was really smart to advertise a clothing sale during Hurricane Sandy. While a lot of people on the East Coast were cowering in their basement while their house was blowing down the street, they said, in case you're bored during the storm, because who's not, 20% off everything for the next 36 hours. And in these states where everybody's losing their house, that's where it's on sale. Now, if you go to this is true, I couldn't make this up. If you go to this, if you Google this, you will find a pantload of tweets telling them exactly how not exactly impressed people are. I just took one from Christine Liu. Hey, American Apparel. People have died and others are in need. Shut up about your Sandy sale. It was free to put that ad out, but it cost them a lot because they didn't think it through. This is awesome. We know that it's free to put tweets out. And inevitably, if we put a tweet out, we don't have the time to respond to all these people. Thousands of people are going to get back to us. We have more important things to do. So for virtually free, we can sign up for services that every time somebody tweets about us, we send them an auto reply. Technology is amazing, but without an idea, it can hurt you badly. So for example, Marc D tweeted out, congratulations to American Airlines and US Airways on creating the largest, shittiest airline in the world. Auto reply. Hey Murph, thanks for your support. We look forward to a bright future as the new American. It costs nothing, or virtually nothing, to put out that reply, but I can tell you, it costs a lot in bad PR. So we're all jumping to the technology before we're thinking through the idea. My advice, you gotta stop and think. Chris mentioned earlier, best bit of advice, coming here, meeting people, bouncing ideas off, turning off your phone, turning off your computer is beautiful and productive. You have to be able to stop, collect yourself, and think. Albert Einstein famously got asked what he would do to solve a hypothetical problem. The problem was the world is going to end in 60 minutes, 1 hour. What would you do to solve that problem? Well, Albert Einstein didn't say, I got a solution. What he said, he would spend the first 59 minutes thinking about the problem and 1 minute creating the solution. That's how you should think about marketing. 59 minutes thinking about the essence, the insight, the execution before you ever turn on a computer. Because computers don't create ideas. Computers are for execution. And in fact, if you look to a computer for ideas, you're going to find somebody else's idea. Or worse. John Cleese, one of the funniest, most creative people of the 20th century, said, we don't know where we get our ideas from. What we do know is that we do not get them from our laptops. Keep that in mind. Now, I have spent the first part of my presentation wagging my finger at you saying, don't jump to technology, think of the idea. Well, I want the second part of this presentation to be a little more upbeat. I want to show you some examples of brilliant bootstrap marketing where people did think about the essence, the insight, and the execution before they used technology. It is possible, and it creates a very, very happy result. Let's start with the essence of the brand, knowing what the brand is all about, starting from there. One of my favorite examples. I worked on Slim Fast for years. I wish I had done this Slim Fast. Now this cuts right to the core of what Slim Fast is all about. That is a good way to control, manage, or lose weight while you're on the go, thus the cans. This ad cost one can of Slim Fast and one photo. If you go to Google Images and look for it, you'll see this turn up dozens of times, which means it was passed around hundreds of thousands of times. Because most of you are thinking, oh great, Mark, yeah, sure, I'm going to get a can of Slim Fast and a hat on every sewer grate in every town of every city all across North America. You don't have to, because we don't live in a scaredy cat world anymore. You only have to do it once. Take a picture, and the rest of us, if we think it's a beautiful idea, we'll happily pass it around for you. Not only that, but if you start with the essence of your brand, you can take that campaign and do it again and again and again with brilliant executions. Like this one, for example. The park bench. Now, again, you might say, I can't afford to do park benches everywhere. You don't have to. In a social media world, you only have to do it once. Get a friend to fabricate it, plant it there for half an hour, then when you're done, pick it up, take it home. You've got the picture, you send it out, and you've got a beautiful idea that goes viral. Don't have a lot of money? Calgary Farmers Market. They didn't have a lot of money. Their essence was fresh produce all year round. And that's what this is all about. In the middle of winter in Calgary, they hung a whole bunch of fresh apples on a tree, put a little tag on them that said fresh produce all year round. Take the picture. Who gives a crap what happens to the apples? Post it on the interweb. Boom, off she goes. Insight. Remember I told you before how scaredy cats had a brilliant insight into the mind of dog owners? Well, that is the root of a powerful campaign too. Here's some companies that had brilliant insights. My favorite, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Brian Scudamore, when he started 1-800-GOT-JUNK 27 plus years ago, had a great insight. We hate carrying out our own junk because we have to throw it in the back of our car, take it to the junkyard. Very unattractive proposition. Or plan B, we have to go through the yellow pages, remember them? We go through the yellow pages and find AAA junk. The guys who come to take away the junk have like skinheads, tattoos on their neck, little tattoos on their fingers. Not a very attractive proposition. So we hate taking out our junk. So that blocks us from remembering a junk company. So what did Brian do? He made his name the telephone number. It's hard to not remember 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And the name is the phone number. What's more though, to answer the problem about all the guys with the tattoos on their necks, he dressed up his employees clean-cut Disney workers, for God's sake. You know, clean-cut press. Yes, sir, very much, sir, thank you. They're like newspaper boys. They're fantastic. We love them. They have phone calls before, they have phone calls after. How is that service? He understood we hated trash, and that's what he based his bootstrap marketing campaign on. If you're interested, I just did a podcast interview with Brian. It's on Marc Stoiber Podbean. So there's an interview with him on the beautiful idea of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. There's another one. Great campaign based on a strong insight. We hate baggage handlers because they hurt our luggage. Virgin Airways, very cheeky company, big bootstrappers, had this idea. Buy a few dozen eggs and wrap them in a ribbon that says, handled by Virgin Airways. They did it once. I know it won every advertising award in the world. What's more though, if you Google image great bootstrap marketing, you'll find this image popping up everywhere, which means people spread it around the world. Great bootstrapping idea based on the insight. We hate baggage handlers. It's a personal favorite of mine from agency Rethink in Vancouver. Actually, Rethink designed my book, which is another, here's a little inside tip. If you want to do good bootstrap marketing for a book, give the design to an ad agency and tell them the brief is, win an award. I'll approve anything that wins an award. If you want to catch a 22-year-old's attention who's at an ad agency, tell him the only brief is win an award. Rethink is all about bootstrap marketing. This is a great idea. Now, you're looking at this going, that's a bus shelter, and that's 3M, the logo. Bus shelter costs a lot of money. 3M, that's a famous company. They got boatloads of money, right? Wrong. This bus shelter is right in front of Rethink's old office. They made a deal with the media company because they're such a creative agency. Remember, they all want to win awards. They said, give us this bus shelter for free, and we're going to put up award-winning ads to publicize how cool bus shelters are. That's ad media. Win-win. Great bootstrapping idea for Rethink. That wasn't 3M who brought this ad. It was a local hardware store owner who had a whole bunch of this film that would make windows impossible to break. Had to unload it. The brief, win me an award. So, Rethink, if you can't see, piled $1 million inside a bus shelter poster. That isn't actually $1 million. That's an inside secret. Keep it in here, okay? It looked like $1 million. And they put this break-proof glass outside of it and challenged all of us to try and break it. Now here's a brilliant insight into the male mind. What happens when you tell a boy that he can't break something? Yes. Nobody's going to tell me that I can't break that. So they had guy after guy line up and throw themselves at this bus shelter trying to break it for dollars and fail. Rethink set up a camera, filmed all of it, and then to make the campaign viral, they sent that out to all the news outlets. It became the feel-good story item of the day. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of free media for the hardware store owner. Start with a great insight into your target market, and you can come up with a great campaign. Finally, execution. I mentioned before, and I want to underline, that bootstrap marketing is probably the most fertile ground in the world for execution. You don't have to deal in a rectangle. You can make anything, anywhere, your ad medium. Here's some companies that did a great job of it. Sidewalk grade. We walk over a sidewalk, walk grade all the time. Nothing special there. But take a bit of chalk and a template, and suddenly your condom ad becomes unforgettable. Rib condoms. You know what's beautiful about bootstrap? Pick the most mundane thing that you can imagine in the world and turn it into your ad medium. Everybody walks past a sidewalk grade 1 million times a day. You turn that into an ad, they're going to go, whoa! I never knew that could be a condom. I'm going to take a picture and send it out to my 10,000 closest friends. If you thought Slim Fast was on a low budget, this ad is even cheaper. They couldn't even afford a proper photographer. He took pictures with his feet in it. All he needed was a little bit of chalk and a crappy old spatula. And the line, need a new barbecue? It's not Shakespeare, folks. Need a new barbecue? Call VJ Sales at phone number. That's a pretty blunt statement. But if you put a twisted visual together with a blunt statement, it works beautifully. You take the most mundane thing in the world, crappy old sewer grate, and you say, hey, is this like your barbecue grate? Brilliant execution, and you only have to do it once. French fries look like sidewalk crossing strips. Beautiful idea. Wristwatch looks like a strap on a bus. You just have to have a bit of imagination. Can you imagine approaching the bus company going, I want to buy all your straps? Pardon? How much for all those straps? $1 million, I'll give you 5. Okay. The point is, if you advertise in a place other people don't advertise, chances are, if you're the first, you're going to get one whale of a deal. Pizza box looks like a mouth. Talk to your 2-year-old. They all go, ha, ha, ha. Pizza box looks like a mouth. It takes years of training to realize that a pizza box does not look like a mouth. That we should not advertise on that. Can you imagine if all the bright minds at the Nature Channel decide to scrap their $1 million Shark Week ads and instead use one, oh! Well, Well, that spoils it then, doesn't it? Imagine if all the folks at the Nature Channel decide to scrap their Shark Week ads and instead buy one pizza box and put a shark mouth in there, take a picture of it and send it out to their friends on the interweb. You could save a whole lot of advertising money. Maybe go save a few sharks with that money. And finally, you haven't seen this, right? You haven't seen this. If you want to inspire somebody who's in advertising, tell them you can work on something dirty. In this case, Viagra, where they cleverly took a doorknob and disguised it as, yes, anyways. My point is, turn off your computer. If you're going to do bootstrap marketing, which is the only type of marketing you should do, think about the essence of your brand, what you really stand for. Think about an insight into your consumer's mind, what they're thinking, what they're like, and then take a look around at the tapestry that is our world and choose your medium. One last piece of advice, when you choose your medium, whether it's a barbecue grill or a pizza box, don't ask a lawyer. I learned this the hard way. Because if you say to a lawyer, I'm going to go out and do a condom ad on a sidewalk rape, the lawyer is going to say, no, you're not. What you say to a lawyer is, I've just done an ad on a sidewalk rape. Deal with it. If there's a problem, call. The first thing is to say, it's chalk, it'll wash off. Don't involve a lawyer. Unless you're going to hurt somebody with a sidewalk chalk, don't involve lawyers. If you follow these 3 guidelines, I can guarantee you that you are going to come up with brilliant bootstrap marketing, and the world needs more of that. Not only that, you aren't just going to come up with beautiful bootstrap marketing ideas, you're just going to come up with plain old beautiful ideas. We need more of those.